Hello, Jason here. Today I want to talk to you about a module in Inventor called Frame Generator. It's inside the assembly environment, and it allows us to quickly and easily build frames, just like this trailer frame that I have here. It allows us to place structural members, whether it be channels, tubes, flat bars, pipe, etc. Anything you would buy at a local metal supplier like Belleville Metals, etc. It allows us to quickly and easily work with these members, create a complex frame relatively easily. It also allows us to, figure out how to cope all of the joints, create all the proper connections. It's a really powerful tool, and I think that welders and fabricators probably use this tool more than any others. So let's jump in. Let's go to it. We're going to go into Inventor, and we're going to open up an assembly. We can either start the assembly right here, or we can go to File, we can go to New, and we can go to Standard IAM. Go to Create. Either way, either one is completely valid. So we recognize our assembly that we have. There's nothing in here. Normally what we would do is we would start placing members, and we would start placing parts, etc. We're going to do a few things first before we get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a file for our project. This is very important. If there's anything that you're going to do to help the success of what we're going to do, let's make a new folder. I'm going to go New, Folder. I'm creating it on my expansion drive. You can create it wherever you happen to want to, but it's just important that you have a folder called, I'm going to call mine Final Trailer Project. You can call it whatever you want. Completely up to you. Just choose something that's meaningful. So we have that available. Next step we're going to do, we're going to save this. We're going to find that folder, expansion drive D, trailer final project, and I'm just going to call it the Weld 2005 trailer. You can call yours whatever you like. Please don't call it assembly 1. Please call it something meaningful. Save that guy. So now we have the Weld 2005 trailer.iam, and we're ready to go. One of the things that Inventor needs in order to make use of the frame generator is it needs a skeleton. Skeleton can be either a shape that's made up of edges and vertices, or it can be sketches, but either way we need to create ourselves a skeleton. And in this case, their skeleton is going to be a series of sketches inside of a part. So normally we would use place. We could use place, but today we're going to use create. So we're going to hit create. And usually the naming of this is fairly important. You can call it trailer outline. I'll call it trailer skeleton. I'll call it trailer outline. Call it trailer outline. It's a standard IPT file. You want to make sure that it's in the folder that you created. If you didn't save at the beginning like I told you to, this might not be correct. You'll have to navigate and change it. That's why I highly suggest saving before doing anything else. So we'll create our trailer outline. We'll say OK. You'll notice that by my cursor, there's a little step shape thing. We just have to click somewhere and we have to place a part. You'll notice something. Actually, notice a couple things. One, in the tree, you'll see the trailer outline is a part inside of there. And you'll notice that we're in the part environment because there's extrude and revolve and holes and fillets and all the stuff that we're used to. So we're inside the context of this part. We're actually making a part inside of the assembly. It's a standard part. We're all familiar with it. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a couple sketches. These sketches are we're going to define where all the members go. It's going to be our skeleton, which we're going to place the members on. So I'm going to start a 2D sketch, and I'm going to sketch on the XZ plane. That way there, the top of my trailer will be the top. So now we can start defining our trailer. First thing we want to do is we want to define the extent of the trailer. So I'm going to use a centered 2-point rectangle. It's not really important which rectangle you use. What is important is that you constrain it relative to the origin. I like the center point rectangle because it helps me to see, and less of the lines are obscured by the origin lines. So it's 54 inches wide, and it's 96 long, or 8 feet. 96. Double click my center mouse wheel, and so I have my basic trailer outline. Next thing I want to do is I want to put some cross members in here, because I have to support whatever decking that I use, whether it be lumber or whatever. So I'm going to grab my line. We're going to put them on 2-foot centers, 24-inch centers. Like so. I could have constrained this one to be right in the middle. I find it sometimes easier to put dimensions in this case. 24. Because if I want to change it, if it's constrained to the middle, I'll have to unconstrain it and edit it. If I use dimensions, 24, then I can easily change the dimensions. 24. So if I decided, for example, I want to make this 18 inches on center, I just change it to 18, throw another member in the back, and away we go. But either way, this looks pretty good. Next, we need to define our tongue. So we know that a tongue is always in the middle of the trailer, so we're going to snap it to the midpoint of this line. The tongue is never going to be offset unless you're building some sort of farm equipment, but for a utility trailer, so we'll bring it out here. Notice I didn't put a dimension because I don't know what the dimension is from there. I'm going to define it from somewhere else. We need a couple stiffeners. I'll come across like so. Don't snap this to the midpoint, just snap it on the line, or just like so. Now we need 2 dimensions. I know that I want my tongue from the front of the trailer to the tip of my tongue. From the front of my trailer to the tip of my tongue to be 40 inches. And then I know that I want this intersection here to be 22. 22. So now I have all the lines I need to define the perimeter of my trailer, my cross members, my stiffener, my tongue, and notice that it's fully constrained. Fully constrained is important for a couple reasons. One is if we need to modify our trailer, it's easy. 2, that this sketch defines the trailer. It's going to tell us how big it is, tell the members exactly where to go. If it's not fully constrained, then our sketch could cause us problems with all the frame members, etc. So I'm going to finish that sketch. If ever it was really important to label your sketches and features, this is it. I just call this one bottom. So I have this sketch. Now I need a sketch for the top, for my top rails. So I'm going to create an offset work plane. So I'm going to say offset from plane. I'm going to go through the origin at the part level. I'm going to find my XZ plane, and I'm going to offset at 18 inches. This is going to be the height of my trailer. If I adjust this plane later, it's going to adjust the height of my trailer. So I'm going to name this my upper, so I know where it is to adjust my height. Because if I change my mind, I want 24-inch sides, I just adjust the height of the plane, and you'll see how it behaves. So now I'm going to start a sketch on that plane. Now I could use project geometry for this, but you're going to see I don't want to. I want to just create a rectangle, 54 by 96. So I have my rectangle on the bottom and my rectangle on the top. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fillet it. Where's fillet? I'm going to put a 5-inch radius on the top. Just kind of dress it up a little bit. Top. Between here and there. And do the same thing over here, here and there. So now I have nice filleted front, rounds it out a little bit. It's going to look pretty decent. I could have done the same with the bottom, I decided not to. So now I've defined my upper rail. I need to define some points along the side to attach my vertical members to. So the easiest way to do that is we could either we could project geometry, but we're going to use points. I'm going to place a point here, here. It's going to be one here, 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 and here. Now when we get to placing members, you'll notice that we can either use endpoints of lines, or we can use points that we've created as well as lines. So we'll throw some dimensions on there real quick. It's going to be 24. If we make this one equal to the other guy, if we just click on the other dimension, they'll all be the same. So if we change this one here to 23, they'll change to 23. It just becomes convenient. We'll do the same on the other side, like so. Oops. Forgot I was defining them point to point. There we go. So now we can finish our sketch. So now we have a line on top for the perimeter, our whole bottom, cross members, frame rails. We're going to label this real quick. And we're going to call this the top. So we can. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to hide the visibility of this work plane. We don't need the work plane to be visible anymore. We're done with it. So we're going to turn the visibility off so we don't have to stare at it all day. At this point, we're going to save. And then we're going to hit return. I'm going to stop this video here. I'm going to do it in chunks so you guys can better understand what's going on. I'll be back in a minute with the next steps.